Ryan, we are working 10 days straight. I'm getting about 4 hours of sleep a night. Not only am I running course and taskers and then running recruits to and from course, and there's only four of us instructors. And we are also the range safety officers. We're the safety swimmers. We're the safety divers, us. And when we get them through their tasks and we finally get them to the barracks, you have to make sure their uniforms are inspected, their gear is inspected. Then we have to interview them. And that goes all night till midnight, sometimes 1 a.m. So it is grueling. And so as the things develop, we never know who's going to leave and when. We never know, right? So as things develop and then we get it all in the can, for the next few months, I will go and reshoot my master interviews. Like you see me in the dark room,
Right. Yep.
military kind of dark room. And then I get my hair cut and everything. So it looks just like then.
I know you got your hair cut and you don't have a beard. I'm like, who is, I don't even recognize this guy.
I know. So I get the look to match. And then depending on what has happened, then I'll do a little insight, a blurb to what's happening on that episode. So that goes on months afterwards. And I have two programs. I got SAS in the UK and then Special Forces in the USA. They're both out at the same time. So it's all over the place, but it's great. It's great to have a fucking mission. But it's definitely a lot of work, and I can see why my personal life, I don't have much of a personal life anymore. It's revolved around health and training and being in the best condition, mentally, physically, emotionally, to be the only name in military entertainment, because that's kind of how my niche is kind of developed that way. I'm very aware that our world is entertainment is fickle, and our world is not guaranteed. Things go up and down, economies go up and down, and I'm sure there's some 35-year-old operators out there that are magnificent, that are handsome, that are war heroes, and they could take my job for half the money. So I have to be the best. And that means my life outside of shooting is revolved around Jade, myself, the dog, the two cats, my children, and my health. That's the way it's got to be right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard too. I know a lot of guys, myself included, want to emulate the same type of lifestyle you're talking about. But one of the things that I think is how often we're tempted by other people or circumstances or external situations that you and I have talked about, where everybody else is living a different life than we are. So my question is, how do you stay on target and on course when everything around you is quite literally, in some cases, telling you not to?
So true. So you know what? So we just Jade, you can see our beautiful little room here. We're out here in beautiful Key West for the wedding. It's so beautiful that Jade, she is disciplined in training, in going to the training hall or the gym, because as we know, that is a shift of focus and consciousness of my life is now put on hold so I can go invest in my personal development. I can de-stress. I can get strong. Everything else that's waiting for me is waiting for me out there. I work out right out here because I'm used to being expeditionary. Those two chairs out there, I turn into my dip station. I bring my rubber bands with me everywhere. I wear blood occlusion cuffs. The reason why is because it's a habit from being a young man, many different homes and schools, and that turned into the military, in which I was deploying or going to school all over. And if I wanted to maintain my fitness, I had to learn to do it with whatever I have, wherever I am. And just this morning, Jade said, honey, I'm really proud because I don't know how you do it. She's going to the gym right now. We got a little day pass, some little hoopty gym here in Key West. I think you probably get I don't know, rum drop shots when you go in. I mean, this place is insane. I mean, everyone's wasted all the time. Bloody Marys for breakfast everywhere. So she said, she gave me a compliment and said that you can train And that means even though we're in the middle, we got 10 people in this house, and you know, they're blasting freaking poison, freaking you know, some poison songs and some Guns N' Roses and drinking Bloody Marys. I still got my training. Um, it's a habit, Ryan. It's a habit. And you know what else too? Sometimes I choose to just get into it. And you know, we can do 30 minutes of 10 body weight squats, 10 mountain climbers each leg, 10 push-ups, 10 thrusters, even with no weight, squeezing the shoulders. You run that 30 minutes straight, I guarantee you're going to get some heavy results.
Yeah.
And then turn it into 20 reps, 20, and then turn it 20 diamond push-ups. I'm telling you. So I also, this is something maybe my friends and fans and folks out there don't know. I ran counter-terror and counter-poaching missions and programs in Northeast Africa, and I was in charge of the PT and martial art program. We had an outdoor field. We had no equipment. And I was tasked with making these men strong and prepared, you know, for combat. I did things like that. We did calisthenics. We did VO2 max Tabatas. We did, we put on our blouses, our, you know, cami blouses, and do grip work and hip tosses, fitting in judo, and duck unders and suplex, fitting it in. That built these men strong. And I had to get results. There was no excuse that just because I didn't have equipment, I couldn't get results. I've really, that's just part of me now, you know. So then when you see me at Sorinex, when we got all the Disneyland of weights and equipment, I'm having fun. I'm having fun. So I use both. I know I can always train with my body weight. I bring these occlusion cuffs, much love to Diamond Dallas Page. They're called power cuffs. And you know, there's so many gimmicks out there, brother. These things are like, you think they're gimmicky. So they're cuffs that go on you here, and then you crank them and it cuts off the blood. So now you're working 3 times harder with no blood getting to your arms. And body weight conditioning dips, pull-ups, even light band work. You just, oh. And when you take them off, the massive amounts of blood comes flooding through, great for inflammation. Also great for HGH, because your body is in a sense in micro trauma.
Sure.
And you'll notice deeper sleep. They have them for the legs too. And if you're a really tough human being and you want to try them on the legs and do just a body weight squat lunge work, whoa. So I bring these things with me, a band, rings, and I've learned how to work out with what I have around me. That's really, I guess maybe that's kind of what sets me apart from a lot of folks out there. Maybe I was a throwback, really. I bet you the old guys from 100 years ago, 150 years ago, they were more like that. They'd find some stones. The people that were involved in wanting to be strong, and wrestlers, gymnasts, things like that, they'd find stones, or they'd do a lot of pull-ups, or they'd probably do a lot of rope pulls, you know. So it works.
Yeah, I think it is. It's just being a little adaptive and a little resilient. I mean, one of the workouts that I really like doing when I don't have anything around me is I do 10 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and then 30 air squats. And I do 10 rounds of that. Takes what, 35 minutes or so? It's nothing.
Exactly. You're sweating, you're breathing hard, you're oxygenating tissues. Absolutely, brother. It works. It truly works. There's another great one. You've seen me probably over the years. It looks like I'm just mentally possessed and I'm throwing punches and sprawls. It's Bas Rutten. Bas Rutten, the legend Bas Rutten.
Yeah.
You put in your earbuds and he calls out the shots. It's 30 minutes. You keep your hands high and he'll call out 3 or a 2 or a right, straight, left hook, and then defense, and then you sprawl, and then leaping knees to chest, 20. And then 30 minutes of being in an executive mindset, meaning we are not thinking anymore, we are executing. Switches a whole nother area on where we're just executing. Bas Rutten, his all-around workout still gets me through. I turned the the actors slash recruits and bodyguards of Generation Kill. I ran that course too. I trained those actors for a few months before we even started to shoot, and then we trained along concurrently while shooting. Totally immersive infantry basics and recon basics. All the actors got military haircuts, gear issue, camis, and we ran it, brother. And this was all over South Africa and Namibia. And we would do boss route. Some of those actors who are now superstars, Mikey Kelly from House of Cards, beautiful blue eyes, kind of balding here, lean. He's also in the Jack Ryan shows, the CIA guy, Jack Ryan's best buddy, the CIA guy, beautiful eyes. That's my homeboy, Michael Kelly. He still does boss route. I turned him on to boss route 13 years ago. People are still doing the boss route because it works. No equipment. That's
all it takes.
Yeah.
I am curious where you're talking about these shows. So me and my kids watch Special Forces. I haven't seen SAS, but we have watched Special Forces in a couple episodes into season 2 now. I was a little disappointed. I was rooting for Mike Piazza in season 1. I was a little disappointed when you tapped. I'm like, come on, I picked him on day 1 because I used to watch him as a kid playing for the Dodgers.
You know what? He's such a class act, and I think he was the keystone that held that course together. There was so many times. There was a time when it was about to be a mutiny. It was about to be a mutiny, brother. And this is behind the scenes. Foxy and Billy normally do the super high speed rappelling. We all do a little bit of everything together because we all have to be able to cover each other's back. But he was doing 250 feet bomb rappel from an aircraft tower on the ocean in Akuba. So we showed the recruits going up all the stairs and then bombing it off.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that? We always rehearse just before we do it. We rehearse. We go and rehearse weeks before, and then even up to the day, we'll have a guy rappel and do whatever evolution we're going to do just to make sure it's finally safe. Well, the winds picked up. Foxy was coming down fast. He's a big unit, brother. Foxy's 235 pounds. He's a big boy. Solid, strong. And the winds picked up, and there was a dais about 30 feet from the deck. And he swung in, probably going about 40 miles an hour, and clipped his heel, snapped tib fib like that.
Ooh.
Crashed to the deck, completely fucking crashed. And at first I thought, man, maybe, did he break his back? We fucking immediately shut it down. We got him into the freaking ambulance. It's his fucking leg. Now we're 3DS and we're controlling 12, 13 recruits. We have to, it has to be transparent to them. They can't know anything. We're running the course. Foxy's on a helicopter to try to get some kind of medical care. And this is Jordan. It's not the United States. They don't have freaking hospitals like we do. So that afternoon, we're getting ready to go into the driving ambush. And the king of Jordan, flies in with his bodyguards to see us and have lunch with the royal family. Well, the king and the royal family, who we're honored and obligated to because they gave us all these assets and they're letting us use their beautiful country. We're not going to tell him, hey, king, you got to go now. We got to run this course. So the king was there entertaining us for about 2 hours while the recruits were in the vehicle standing by. And they were getting really pissed off. They were getting really angry. They don't know what's going on. But, welcome to the military. That's how it goes sometimes. Yeah. And so the nerves were frayed and raw. Danny and Mendoloff got fired up. I was just about ready to eat. This is after a long day and night, just in the vehicle, just got in there to eat. And then I hear Billy yelling, his voice behind me. I'm like, fuck, something's going on. I get it, and I go back there, and they're about to go to blows. I got to back up Billy. I can't let the discipline of the course get out of control. If we can slam the door on Danny's freaking F this, F that, all of the recruits say, all right, we're all taking off our armbands. We're about to lose the whole show. we're about to lose the whole freaking show. And this thing's like a $20 million show, right? I mean, just flying everybody first class to get into this thing.
Right,
so, you see what
sure.
I'm saying? So we're about to, this is day 4. We're about to lose it. We get to the barracks, everybody's flooding out. Scaramucci, Daddy Abdullah, everybody's like, you know what? They're fucking here. Fuck, we're done. We're all done. And then I'm shut the F up. Get in the accommodations right now. Shut the F up. Just shut up. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. And it was Piazza. I freaking got everybody together. Went in there, fatherly. Listen, listen, everyone. We're here for a reason. It's been tough on all of us, but we really need to show our best out here. We represent America. We really need to get it together. All right, we got to do this together. Do you understand? And everybody brought their emotions down. Everybody got back together, and it was Piazza that kept that course online, brother. We were about to lose it all on the 3rd or 4th day. Yeah, it was incredible. He's such a champ. He's such a great father. He's such a great American. I've had dinner with him and spent time with him afterwards too. He came to my Force Blue Gala. Just a class act all the way. I loved him, but I knew physically over time, when you're of that age, when you're in
a little
your 40s,
older,
it's tough, especially if you're a bigger person. If you're 170 pounds and you're 45 or 50, okay. But if you're 210, 230, it's all the running, it's all the wear and tear. And then he had to box, and brother, he got the hell fuck beat out of him by Big Dwayne.
Yep.
We kept him in, and he kept giving as much as he could, but he took some hard shots. I was amazed he was still standing in the end. His face is all swell up. Remember, he freaking smashed against the gas chamber door, freaking fell flat. Oh, brother, it was pandemonium. So there's no freaking script, Ryan. So when Billy was running the gas chamber and he ran to escape, I was on the other side. Piazza was so freaking strong, he blasted that door. I almost fucking flew off
that's right.
door.
When he tried to run into that door, that Connex, right? That's right. I do remember that. Yeah, that's wild.
Oh, brother, it can go sideways on you at any time. So we're all very focused about checking in with each other always, doing back briefs so we all understand what's going on. And what the audience doesn't see is behind the scenes. We have producers, powerful people, frightened that we're going to lose somebody really important if we've not got their inner story out. Now, that being said, I can't pump the brakes. We can't pump the brakes. But it's amazing what one little word from a DS, from an instructor to a struggling student can do for them. So out on task, one little word, hey, stay in the fight, brother. Hey, young lady, you're giving a good account of yourself. One little thing gives them enough to keep going. Yeah. And then so later in the evening, we'll bring them in for tactical questioning and learn more about them. It's really, really amazing work. You need to be switched on. And it's brought my health back together, because when I'm there, brother, I'm there for 2 months, totally immersed. No alcohol, no distraction, oftentimes no cell service, just training and running the course. And then when I come home, I feel so refit, refueled, refreshed, and find what's so important is that I have my loved ones back home. So it's a perfect life, work, training balance right now. Now, I don't know how long it's going to last. The numbers for our new season are almost twice as good as the first season. The first season was the best, or the highest rated Fox show unscripted. This one is still the highest rated Fox show unscripted, I think, of all time. But you never know how entertainment goes. But I want to keep this train on the tracks. And I think our country needs to be reminded of patriotism and of sacrifice and honorable old world values. And I think that's what this show does.
Yeah, I think that. I also think seeing people overcome obstacles and trials and hardship.
Well
It
said.
seems like in modern times, everything's so easy. I don't want to
Yeah.
discount what people are dealing with. We're all dealing with something, but you're really not dealing with what will kill you for the most part.
You're
And we've
exactly
become
right.
so complacent and comfortable. I am curious, with season one and now season two, are there some common themes that you see not only through the shows that you've done, but also your military training that seem to run common throughout people who succeed? Because if we can emulate those characteristics, that's what I'm interested in. And I think that's what
Yeah.
the guys listening are interested in too.
First of all, physical fitness. Why? Because if you're disciplined enough to put yourself into a space of pain and being out of breath, which in a sense is like a little death. I think intuitively, we are transporting ourselves back to the savannah where there's lions and yet we've got spears to hunt our food, yet the predators could get us too. And imagine how, in our primitive state, how real that was, right? Real. If you are approaching physical fitness and sport, I think at our base DNA, it's putting you back into that hunter gatherer. And look what we do when we train too, Ryan. We end up making like tribe members and friends through the training. Sometimes like if you remember years back, like you go into a new gym or something like that, and you've been there about 3 weeks, and then you see a couple of the same guys, and they're doing some legit stuff, and you guys just give each other now. There's a quantum effect of things that are happening when you're physically fit and when you're doing sport. It's keeping you back into our tribal, our essential hunter gatherer when there was something on the line. Starvation, predation. Will you have status to have a good woman? Will you be strong enough to even get a woman, or are you going to be eaten by the lion or by the barbarian hordes? So starting with sport and physical fitness, that starts developing a level of grit. And also, it's interesting, the emotions. I'm an emotional person, yet through martial art and through special operations, we compartmentalize the emotion and let it be a simmering flame for our very intellectual approach. So if I could say, separating church and state in the human mind for success, separating the church and state specifically when you are building fundamentals. When you're our age, though, right? I see now, I don't really separate. Now they're working together at a quantum level, but there's a certain, in our earlier development, separating church and state, church being the emotion and soul, spirit, sometimes the empathy, sometimes the sympathy. Separate that from the state. And that is that is the empire that you're building of yourself. You must conquer. You must make clinical decisions. You must weigh risk. I see that these are the building blocks and all the people that do well on my course, and all the people I've known that do well in anything. That ability, especially, it doesn't seem that, Ryan, many of us are just naturally geniuses or naturally, Carl Lewis. Not many of us are naturally Carl Lewis or Albert Einstein, but we're somewhere in the middle. So those are the basics I really see. Sport, fitness, because you're willing to subconsciously put yourself back on the savannah and take critique or loss. And then separating church and state when developing skills, whether they're your economic skills, your social skills, your professional skills. If you can do that, you can do anything.
Well, one of the things that I really admire about you, Rudy, just in the interactions we've had over the years, is you don't seem like somebody who's like, I'll go to the gym for an hour every morning, and that's my gym time, and then my my journaling or meditation time is at this time. You're talking about compartmentalization, but when I look at you, from what I see, I don't see compartmentalization. What I see is fitness is not an hour a day. Fitness is life. What I see
You're
is like
exactly right. You're
achieving,
exactly,
that's what I admire
as
about
right.
you.
Yes, brother, you're exactly right. It's that expeditionary approach. However, when I was in my teen years and early 20s, and when I was doing Shaolin Kung Fu and kickboxing, I lived in Kansas City, and there was not really a fitness culture really there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would train very early in the morning. By the way, my Kung Fu teacher, we didn't have any money. We didn't have a school. We trained outside. In Kansas City, we get freaking harsh winters and blistering summers. Still, no matter what, my Kung Fu teacher said, Jimen said, every morning, if you do these drills every morning, and when the sun is coming up and you do this meditation every morning for 2 years, you will achieve a skill. And if you skip anything, the technique's lost. And now looking back, I realize the technique that he's talking about is the technique of commitment. Technique of such commitment. Once I started training that hard, committed, and that there were no excuses or no reasons to stray, it opened up another level of probably my intelligence, my grit. It built a foundation in which now I take my Kung Fu school anywhere in the world. But it had to be started and moored with that kind of discipline. Yeah, Jade just walked in. She just got me a coffee. Like I said, she's blown away. So because I always find she'll see me kind of like a scrouge of things to work out with. When we move into the hotel, first thing I look like, where you put your suitcase on, I put my feet up on the table and use that thing that you put your suitcase on to do some fucking deep chest presses. And then just moving some chairs around, and I'll stick one chair against the wall so it's got a little bit of pressure to hold it. And then so I do my dips on the tops of chairs. So you have to be focused with your core to keep them from collapsing in. So I'm feeling my ability through the 4 legs of each chair as I squeeze. That all started from the compartmentalization of my feelings and how freaking cold and how much snow was coming in. Bro, I didn't have a car. My brothers and I, we were really lower socioeconomic group. We grew up very low socioeconomic group. I thought I was doing great. I had a restaurant job. We had a decent apartment in a okay part of town. And I rode my bicycle everywhere, keep super in shape, and then do my training outdoors. The winter came in so harsh that a bunch of cars, we got freezing rain. Cars are careening off the freaking streets, smashing, pandemonium in the rain. Well, I still had to get to work. So I had these hand-me-down Bolay racquetball goggles, because I noticed that when I would wear goggles when I'm riding my bike in the snow, my eyelashes would freeze and I'd freaking freeze over. So I had these vegan things. I had a Carhartt kind of snowsuit. It was an insulated Carhartt workman's jumpsuit, and wrapped me some freaking scarves around. And I'm riding my bike to the freaking park at 5 a.m. so I can train. The wind is hitting me so hard. I'm freaking working so hard. I get to to the Nelson Atkins to do my drills, my fighting drills and plyometrics. It was all plyometrics and striking drills. I had to do every morning. Right? I unzipped the top of it, wrapped it around my waist. Steam was coming off while snow was coming down. I was on the verge of going down for heat from riding my bike. So when you got those basics built in you, you will bring that level of intensity, insight, and celebration to whatever training you're doing. And then you start bringing that to everything you're doing. My buddy, his name's Clark, a legend, very humble SEAL with a ton of freaking humor, and he plays guitar, loves Metallica, and he calls me his energy coach. He says, "Energy coach." that you're exactly right. There is a tipping point. There's the fundamentals, and we always return to them. But our goal is to hit a tipping point in which we're living full power, hypercolor, and really celebrating and being gracious with all the gifts that we got. You know, it's strange. We look in the mirror. Do you remember, Bo? We used to be younger. I remember when we were younger. Things do change on our bodies. They do age. You know, they do age. We have to warm up a lot longer. We now have to. I used to see people roll out. I mean, like, what a waste of time. What are these people doing?
Same.
Now I got
Same.
it right.
I just bought a roller on Amazon. I'm like, all right, I better get after this because this ain't working anymore.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it's really amazing. I'm still in love with it. I'll always be in love with it. Uh, I'm not even sure how to describe my mission now, or how I'm going to make a living for my family and I and such, or whatever, because I'm not necessarily just an entertainer. I'm not necessarily just a warrior anymore. I still train my weapons with Jade. We still do martial art and lift weights. I'm a speaker, but I'm not necessarily just a speaker. So it's still unfolding for us, you know, but what stays at the center is the relationship I have with Jade, and also the deep pursuit of what I'm called by God to do. What is the deep? What doors have been opened my whole life, and also what challenges have been put in front of me to make me a better man? So these are the things I wrestle with and think deeply about every day, and so the road is unfolding in front of me. Chun-Man Sit said this. Chun-Man Sit said this about martial art and technique. He's such a progressive, amazing human being. He said, in fighting, if I tell you to go down the road and take a right, or to this road and take a left, and it's dark, if you just do exactly what I say, you're going to end up in somebody's front yard. But with headlights, you can see 30 or 40 feet ahead. And if you pay attention, you'll be able to follow the road and then take a right, or then take a left. But in life, you have to be able to follow the road. And maybe that's the flexibility that we were talking about also. What a dichotomy of bedrock and flexibility.
You seem to be somebody who lives life on his own terms, and is willing to explore different veins and different avenues and different interesting things to you. How does that juxtapose with your time in the military? Because that could be completely different, where you've got command telling you you're going to do this at this time and this way. And then I see you, the personality you have. I'm like, this is a larger than life guy right here. How does that work? How does
that's a great question. It's a great question because I look back at it. I can't wait for you to meet some of my other recon brothers. There's a brother that you need to get on here. His name's Roger Sparks. He's the first man I called on for Force Blue. He's 7 foot tall, legendary recon ranger, recon daddy. Then went to pararescue at 35. And they have an Olympian swim program. So their selection is just an Olympian swim program.
Okay, got it. Wow.
At 35, already a seasoned operator, highest decorated pararescueman of all time. So he was my mentor there at Recon, and I had a screaming high and tight, and I did what the hell I was told for the first 2 years in the Marine Corps. Made sure that everything was squared away, fresh haircut, great condition, all gear maintained and managed, and I did what I was told. At a certain time, the doors open up to you, and now that you've shown that you have the intelligence, humility, and discipline to do things without having to be told, now you're brought in, and then some of the NCOs will have a lava lamp. Next thing you know, you see the other NCOs, they play guitar. You know, they're playing guitar. Then you find out this guy over here is a painter. Then you find out this guy over here was a D1 football player. This guy over here was at Ohio State Wrestling. And it becomes a Jedi council of high performance and creativity. Why that becomes so important is that when we deploy and fight overseas, we specifically recon, specifically in my time, we did not live in any kind of nicety. We were the young bucks on the freaking playing field. And due to the excellence of my brothers and I in my first two platoons in Afghanistan and Pakistan in the invasion of Iraq, and then Fallujah and Ramadi, MARSOC was created. And so then they got the huge dollars. We lived in holes. We invaded a country in open Humvees with no doors and no shielding from the elements, just heavy guns and each other. We ran out of food. We had to drink water from the Euphrates with massive amounts of bleach and iodine. Due to the burning bodies and burning steel and buildings, all of the men got dysentery. We're wearing nuclear, biological, chemical suits, gas masks, fighting, dismounted, mounted, dismounted. Everyone is having diarrhea and vomiting. You can't take off your mop suit, so the diarrhea is just coming down you. We have each other, though. And the little laughter, the little joke, the little things, we have each other. So that's what my special military gave me. A really hard anvil to eventually be trusted and trust others, to have each other's backs and lives in each other's hands. And it became almost like imagine you and your three best friends from grade school when you're still riding BMX bikes and freaking chasing snakes, except there's 20 of them and you're all super capable. That's the feeling it felt like. That's the feeling. And so I was just at this special time. So I came back finally after all my wars and stuff. And I see my kung fu teacher, Chin Mensa, and I said, Sifu, were you ever scared that I was not coming home? And I'll use his Chinese accent. He's so genius. He goes, Ludi, it is Litten. Ludi, no one know my name until you my student. I just a cook at a grocery store. And then after you win all the competition, they say, they don't know my name, but they say, that's Ludi's teacher. That's Ludi's teacher. Because, Ludi, it is Litten. You're a hero. You have to go to war. Of course, after war, you come home.
That's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. Is that
genius or what? It's like, it's almost, he'd already seen it happen. When he took me on as a student, and then we ended up going fighting internationally, beating the Russian champ, beating the China champ, going all over the place. And now now he's on the Kung Fu magazines and such, right? And so he'd already seen it, but I was so immersed, I didn't see any of that. And that's probably good. But yeah, he was not worried at all. He said he knew I'd have to come home. That's part of the journey.
Do you feel like the journey is already written and now you're just playing it out? I mean, you talk about that journey, but you also talk about God. How does your faith tie into that?
Oh boy, it's so heavy. Well, you know what? How about this, Ryan? Because my brothers and I grew up so hard and grew up in different homes, foster care, we were really abused, we were neglected, was very sick. I had hepatitis at 11 or 12 years old and almost died of hepatitis. It's completely yellow. My teeth were rotting out. And then I ended up being put in the boys' home. The good news is I got weights, I got wrestling, I got new teeth, got the disease taken care of. But, no, I never had anybody love me or my brothers. It was just me and my brothers. We were in really abject poverty. I focused, I used to pray. I used to pray to God to please help me. And it didn't show up the way, we're kids. We don't have the perspective that we do now. I don't. The angels didn't come and freaking save me, you know what I mean? Or that, I was expecting like a father, like freaking God to come down and pick my brothers and I up and, take our pain away. So I then said, well, if God's not coming, I'll just focus on myself. I'll just focus on my own attitude and my own determination. I'll empower myself through Zen Buddhism, through discipline, through practice. That took me a long way. By the way, no drugs, no alcohol, no women, none of the trappings that young men get into, nothing. Focused. I didn't have a teens and 20s like anybody else. All I did is train and compete, read, and I was vegetarian. I was actually experimenting on what minimal food I could eat and how light I could be and compete at 155. So I was buying bulgur wheat. I was getting sprouted grains and then making porridge myself and eating fresh vegetables and having a garden with vegetables, trying and meditating deeply, standing meditation. However, and this went all the way through Marine Corps. Oh, brother, we're invading these countries, and then the priests are coming to give us last rites because we don't know if we're coming home. I still just counted on myself, my discipline, and my work ethic, and I just counted on me. However, but I used to be judgmental too. I still am. I still am judgmental with people, but it used to be much worse. If anybody was physically weak, or drank alcohol, or smoked a cigarette, after all of my time in war, and then this mysterious thing that turned the wars that I went to into an entertainment for HBO. Now I made over $500,000 at pretending to do war after I had done all this war and lost so much. By the way, I'm only just now processing the men I've lost, only just now. I've always had to believe they're still alive. And then the corruption of women, drugs, alcohol. I didn't have any more barriers, and I didn't know how to let God help me because I had built myself up to then, or so I thought. I had built myself, or so I thought. I ended up in a mental institution for a year. I lost all my work. By the grace of God, people like Bert Soren, people like Rick Elder from Beyond Clothing and Huxworks, Derek Woodsky, Brandon Lilly. These people, they stayed with me.
Yeah, great man.
Yeah, and they loved me and valued me. And I started my comeback, and I recognized that, well, now I don't judge people nearly as harsh because I've been through it too. I know what it's like to feel hopeless and feel like you've let, like your best years are behind you because you've lost something in you that you can't find. When I met Jade, after I started Force Blue, it gave me self-esteem enough and my strength, and I would be clean, at least for periods at a time. And right now I'm in the belly of the beast. This is freaking Key West. It's nothing. It's nothing but drugs out here right now. But I'm just so empowered with the love of God, and why I'm here is to make this world a better place. I was still hesitant to embrace God. I definitely wouldn't even say Jesus's name. I think it's because I was afraid of that kind of love and acceptance that I personally, after everything I've been through and done, that I am worthy to be received and loved. Probably other orphans and thrown away kids probably go through this too, right? After Force Blue was going for a few years, I started being somebody. I was doing a little work here or there, but Force Blue, I meet Jade. She needs somebody she can count on. For the first time in a long time, I know that someone's me. And she's really Christian, and she reads the Bible every morning. Still, sometimes we get into fights. I'd say, you're too young. You don't understand. I've been fighting in the Middle East for so long, Northeast Africa, you've seen all, if you'd seen all the freaking terror and destruction I've seen because of these people saying their religion is right, or these people are saying their religion is right, or the Shia and the Sunni. And I've been to Babylon, Ryan. I've fucking been to Babylon, brother, and it's a shithole. I've been to where Jesus was baptized. These places, we take it for granted in America. It's not beautiful like this. This is the cradle of civilization, of modern human thought, where we consider rule of law. This is some of the first places it happened. It's not progressed at all. So you can imagine all that weighing on me. And, but you know what? Jay didn't give up on me. And I witnessed a few miracles that happened to me. And I don't know how to explain it to anybody else that maybe is struggling with faith or doesn't have faith quite yet. I'll just say this. No one could have told me to do it. When I had been brought to my knees by the end of my own abilities, I didn't have any more abilities left. I had a knee surgery. I had a meniscus. I couldn't walk. Gunnar Peterson called Dr. Elatrash, gave me a $200,000 surgery. I didn't have the money. I didn't have no money. I just had my own program on History Channel. COVID hit, gone. I can't walk. Jade and I have no money. We're living in Idaho. I had nothing else Rudy Reyes could do. And these miracles started happening. And I just know that God and Jesus have made my life sufficiently hard to empower me, but never so hard to break me. And when I did break, that was the Rudy that was broken, but not the being that God created. So here I am. I'm in a very different place. It makes me emotional. I have my son back in my life. Ryan, I lost my son about 5 years ago because I was 7 years ago. So I was a danger to be around. I was still doing a lot of cocaine, still street fighting. I raised him since I tried to be a dad, because I had no father. I was trying to overcome the generation of not caring of children, all on me, and I was still plagued. And then I went to court and I lost a lot. And then when my son was taken, I was at the lowest I've been. Again, this is a miracle. I was very close to suicide. I had my pistol. I've been up for days, drinking vodka and doing cocaine, and I was very close. I felt hopeless. And then I just felt this forceman's voice saying, it's okay. There's more that you're here for. And then immediately, instead of me just saying, yes, thank you, I took action. I called my brother Caesar. I said, Caesar, come here, get all my guns out of here. I need to get myself together, get my guns out. I'm going to get clean. Freaking stayed indoors, shook for about 24 hours, then started working out again, got myself together again. Little by little, Force Blue started blooming. Meet Jade. Jade started blooming. I'm almost there. Then I'm brought back down. And then I did a documentary for a little documentary filmmaker 7 years ago. It turned into Once Upon a Time in Iraq, that won the Oscar in the UK, the BAFTA for Best Documentary. I had forgotten I'd even done the work. The documentary filmmakers had met me in Hong Kong. I was doing work in Hong Kong at the time too, New York, LA, when I was up, down, and sideways. And then finally I happened to be in New York City and they asked me if I'd like to come in, just get on camera and talk a little bit. I'd forgotten about it. I didn't realize it did so well. While I was recovering from a knee surgery, I put on some weight, which I've never had any freaking weight on my body before. I didn't have any money. Jade and I are living in Idaho, where we have no friends. Everybody just drinks out there when they're done with work. Nobody cares about their freaking training, right?
Yeah.
And,
I've been to places like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And then I got a call, and it was SAS. It was the same production company that does Special Forces. They were so blown away by the documentary, and they had a spot on their team And the producer said, "Get me Rudy Reyes." I'm telling you, that was all God. It was all God. It was all God. It was all Jesus. Um, it's I don't know. I don't know if you can tell, or I don't know if you can proselytize and preach to someone exactly. I do believe when you're a child, it's so important to give them those building blocks so that they're already thinking and their hearts are open to start noticing magic and miracles happening. But for me, and probably a lot of fighters and killers, a lot of my bros are atheists. They're now starting to go to Christianity, but some of the hardest guys are atheists. And it's because of when you witness human beings turned into meat, sometimes you got to turn them into meat. And the horrible stuff that goes along with it. It can damage you, and then it makes you feel not worthy of receiving love or possibly a kingdom in heaven. But that's where I'm at now, Ryan. It's been nothing short of a miracle. It's been nothing short of miraculous for me, and I feel like I'm just starting again.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do. I mean, you got so much going on. And one thing I got to tell you, man, I think so highly of you and our interactions. And then I see the way that you engage with my kids when they come out there to winter or summer strong. And I'm like, I can tell, like, that's where I know, like, that's the real deal right there. Cause the way he treats, my two boys who have come with me. I'm going to bring my third out there in the next year or two. He's going to come with me as well. But Rudy, I think so highly of you, man. I really appreciate you taking some time to share. I know you've got a busy weekend, a crazy weekend. Stay straight as you are in the belly of the beast, as you said.
Yes.
Hey, let the guys know where to connect with you and learn more about what you're doing, including the shows and your book. Your book was re-released, right?
My book's re-released. It's going
right.
great. See, how would you even plan this? It had to be this way, and now I'm more ready with my business acumen to understand. I didn't understand any of this before, and to be honest, I didn't have the self-worth to think that I was worth being a business. I thought I didn't have that self-worth yet, and that has absolutely changed. And if I can inspire and motivate and shine a light on these things for other brothers and sisters going through struggle, I'm realizing that all of us have been through things now, that we're a lot more alike than we are different. I have a wonderful little website, rudyreyes.com. Nick Gorley is my designer. He might all of the Sornex designs and the Beyond Clothing and Raider project, that's all Nick Gorley. And,
is it okay? He does some good work then.
He does great work. Got a nice little website. My Instagram is Real Rudy Reyes. I've got a book, Hero Living, 7 Strides to Awaken Your Infinite Power. And it's a self-help book. So how cool is that, right, Ryan? They came to me, Don, to write a badass book about all my combat stuff, right? Ethically, emotionally, I couldn't just write about brothers and sisters that are still in war and struggling, or the dead. And I couldn't face that way. I wrote a little bit, but not a biography exploiting the glory and the damage of war, because there is glory too. Don't get me wrong. I love it too. I wrote this self-help book. It did nothing. Nobody wanted it. Now it's going great.
Isn't that wild how that works?
Yeah, brother. And it's fantastic. And I can't wait to talk to Bert again. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking about maybe doing a YouTube. I thought about doing a podcast. The only thing is, I have a hard time sitting down for too long. So I don't know if I can do a podcast.
I imagine that's the case. I imagine that.
Yeah. So I'm thinking a little vignettes and YouTube of me being with my homeboys and traveling and showing how to bring life to life. And I think maybe if my little thing is that every person I have as a guest, first we go work out together. And then we show up fucking sweaty, and then a free espresso and a protein shake, and then we get into it. And it's just a nice little 15-minute thing. a chop energetic workout, and then maybe if we can talk about what we're doing, who we are, and sharing a little bit of our life, I think that would be great because that's who I am. I mean, you've known me for years now. That's what we do. We get together and we work out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I love it. Well, I'm here to support you however I can. So I'll make sure I sync everything up. When you launch that YouTube series, we'll be able to promote it on our end. And I'm all about you, man. So I appreciate it. Enjoy your weekend, and you and I will stay in touch and talk soon.
You got it. And thanks for your patience, brother. It's been a heck of a month. So thank you, brother. I love you, brother. And I'll see you really soon.
See you soon.